Hey, what's good, everybody? This your boy LB coming back with you guys with another album review. You know what I'm saying? I know it's been a while, man, but just hey, life got things. Things come up as usual, man. So let me go ahead and start this thing off, man. I got some new CDs in, like yesterday or something. I think about 5 or so, and so I'm just gonna start off with one of the ones I've been listening to. So right here, I have the 4th album from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Mother's Milk, released in 1989. This, in my opinion, this was the Chili Peppers' breakthrough album. You know what I'm saying? Because they had been active since, like, the band formed in 1983. They went through several lineup changes. They started out with the original members, which was Anthony Kiedis, Flea, Jack Irons on drums, and Hillel Slovic on guitar. And of course, both of them, Jack and Hillel, they were already in a band called What Is This, and they thought that band was going to be more serious than the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So they ended up leaving and being replaced by Cliff Martinez and Jack Sherman for the first album, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Then Jack Sherman, he was fired, and Hillel returned on guitar for their second album, Freaky Styley, which I have in my collection. And of course, they came out with their next album in 1987 called The Uplift Mofo Party Plan, which is the only Red Hot Chili Peppers album that featured the original lineup of Anthony, Flea, and Jack, and Hillel. And unfortunately, it was the last time because Hillel, he died of a drug overdose in 1988 after they came off a tour. And of course, the Uplift Mofo Party Plan, that was really that was the beginning of the Chili Peppers really starting to gain attention. It was the beginning, because their first two albums, while I like their first two albums, they weren't hits. You know what I'm saying? I guess people weren't checking for what they were coming with. I mean, white guys playing funk rock and punk mixed together and with rap. I guess people weren't ready for that. But, and of course, the band went through another lineup change. Jack Irons left the band because, he really couldn't take the death of Hillel. And, they went through several people. They went with, I can't think of his name. I know his last name is McKnight, but he used to play with Parliament. He used to play with Parliament. I know he was in the band for a minute, but he was fired because of lack of chemistry. And my man from the Dead Kennedys, DH, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. Is it Peligro? I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. I'm sorry if I pronounced it incorrectly, but he was in the band for a while, and of course he introduced them to John Frusciante, and whatever. He ended up being fired because he had drug problems and lack of chemistry. And of course, Chad Smith came in, but he was different from the rest of them. The rest of them, they were more into the punk and funk scenes. And Chad was he was from Detroit. He was originally from Detroit, and he came to L.A. and he was more like a heavy metal, classic rock type guy. But anyway, that's where you had a classic lineup. And so this is the first album with that classic lineup right here. I mean, that's one of the greatest album covers ever. I don't care what nobody say. This is like the 2003 remastered version. It includes like bonus tracks and stuff. But yeah, man, this in my opinion, this is one of my favorite Chili Peppers albums. I think it's their best. Some might argue that, but I think it's one of their best albums, man. It was definitely a breakthrough for them because this album, I mean, they had large sales with this album. I mean, they had an increase in concerts. They were able to finally accommodate bigger venues. I mean, they just attained a whole new level of fame with this album. Singles from this album, the first single was Higher Ground, which is a cover of the original song by Stevie Wonder. What's the other one? Knock Me Down, and Taste the Pain. Knock Me Down is a song about, it's a song dedicated to Hillel. You know what I'm saying? It's about, you know, it's not necessarily an anti-drug song, but it's about, like, if you're having issues with drugs, or it doesn't even have to be drugs. If you're having issues, the song's basically about, don't be afraid, you know, to tell your friends what's going on, because they can help you. And it's also about, like Anthony Kiedis said, about how, like, drug addicts have like they have an egotistical personality when they on drugs. They think that nothing can happen to them. Because that's why in the hook you have that part where it says, like, you know, if you see me getting mighty, if you see me getting high, knock me down, I'm not bigger than life. Because, hey, you're not invincible. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can do drugs for years, but, you know, there's going to come a time where it's going to get you. Whether it be you get sick or you die. So that's what that song was about, man. And of course, Higher Ground, you know, that's a cover of Stevie Wonder's version. This is more of a rock version. I think this is a great cover of the song. I thought the Chili Peppers did a great song. I thought they did a great job with the cover of that track. That was actually one of the, I guess the reason why I like this album so much, because this album, when I was a little kid, this album was actually the first time I saw the Chili Peppers. Because that Higher Ground video, I remember seeing that Higher Ground video on, like, MTV and stuff when I was little. I mean, I was small, but I remember that was the first time I saw them. But Taste the Pain, I think that was the final track released from there. Pretty cool song. But Good Time Boys, they actually shot a promotional video for that, which you can find on YouTube. I thought that was a great introduction to the album. One of my favorites on here is track number 3, Subway to Venus, man. I really enjoy that song. That's gotta be one of the most like the best funk rock song I have ever heard, man. I bump that song non-stop, man. I like the saxophone that's in the track. I like the funky beat, the guitars, and I like how at the end of the song they kind of switch it up and punk it up a little bit. Magic Johnson, that's another one of my favorites. Straight funking it out, man. The song's basically about the 1980s Lakers, which had Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You know, and anybody that's a fan of the Chili Peppers know that these guys are they're passionate Lakers fans. So that was pretty much like a tribute to them, man. Nobody Weird Like Me is another one of my favorites, man. I just like it, man. I just like that title, Nobody Weird Like Me. I walk around saying that shit sometimes, man. Stone Cold Bush is another dope track. Punk rock classic. I think that song's in like a minute or so, but that title speaks for itself, man. Let's see, Johnny Kick a Hole in the Sky. That's more, I could say that's more kind of like more of a socially conscious song right there. Anthony Kiedis, you know, he has Indian, he has Native American. He has Native American in him. He's Apache, I believe. I believe that's his tribe, but you know, he's done this before, man. I mean, you know, on the Freaky Styley album, he had a song called American Ghost Dance, which was about how, you know, the Pilgrims pretty much killed the freaking Indians and raped and pillaged their village and took what they wanted. Not that fabricated story we got in elementary school. But that's basically what that song's about. You know, he just representing who he is and where he's from, where he's come from. You know what I'm saying? But this is, like I said, this is the 2003 remastered version. It has bonus tracks. Like, it has a demo called "The Song That Made Us What We Are Today." That song's like 12 minutes long. 12 minutes and 56 seconds long. It has a "Knock Me Down," which is, it says the original long version. "Sexy Mexican Maid," that's another song I like on here. But basically, like, you know, basically a sexual song, you know what I'm saying? You know, that was pretty common with the Chili Peppers back then. it has the original long version on here. Salute to Kareem. Of course, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This is another instrumental track, as well as the song that made us what we are today. And Castles Made of Sand and Crosstown Tracker are all like live songs. But yeah, man, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Mother's Milk, man, released in 1989, man. Like I said, man, I really dig this album. It's definitely one of my favorite Chili Peppers records, man. I haven't stopped listening to this album since I got it. I mean, I got other CDs that came too, and I just haven't really listened to them as much as I've listened to this. But I'm just glad to finally have it in my collection, man, because I don't know, I most of the time when I'm looking for Chili Peppers, like when I go to Best Buy, they have like the obvious ones, like they have Blood Sugar Sex Magic, they have Californication, and they have like the greatest hits, both of the greatest hits CDs, like the What Hits compilation, and like the greatest hits. And then of course, like, By the Way, I haven't seen Stadium Arcadium, you know what I'm saying, I'm With You, the recent one that they dropped. But I'm just glad to finally get this in my collection, man. I enjoyed it, man. So this album's still in print. I actually read somewhere they're supposed to be coming out with a 25th anniversary edition of this album, but I think it's pretty much going to be the same as this 2003 edition, except the difference with the 25th anniversary when it's supposed to come out is that I think it's going to have like a bonus disc that includes like it's a DVD. It's going to have live footage of them performing live. But all in all, I think it's going to be the same format as the 2003 remaster, man. But and honestly, I recommend getting this version because this version includes like liner notes from Flea, where he talks about what was going on during the period of recording this album, and it also features a couple of more pictures and stuff like that. That's why I went ahead and got this. I could have got I guess the original one for like $3 off of FYE, like $3.15. But I wanted this because like the Freaky Styley one I ordered, that's what it was, and I enjoyed reading like Flea's liner notes about, you know, the recording process during that period and what went on. But anyway, yeah, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Mother's Milk, man, still in print. So if you find this album, definitely go cop it, man. And if you're somebody that wants to get into the Chili Peppers, I mean, if you don't want to start all the way back to like their first album, the Red Hot Chili Peppers or Freaky Styley, I recommend at least starting with this one or the one before that, the Uplift Mofo Party Plan. But I think it's no problem to start with the beginning because those albums were good. It's just they were just overlooked. But you know, it's just the divide thing. Most people like their earlier work better. Most people like their later work. I like their earlier work. I liked it when they were still like really hard into funk and punk, and you know, just going crazy. Even though they was all really on drugs and kind of fucked up, but I just like that period better. So yeah, definitely go cop this album. And as always, love, peace, and happiness. Be blessed. Peace out.